I told you we need more information because the fire service says that they want to speed up education. So we have Alex Kinate right here. It's Kin, right?
Yes, sir.
What's your rank?
Assistant Divisional Officer.
What does it mean? Assistant Divisional Officer.
That's an ASP or Lieutenant
Equivalent. Okay, Charlie, you're a big man.
Ask for shots.
Big ups.
And you're, no, ADU too. Yes, Assistant Divisional Officer.
So you're telling us that the fire service is 60 years?
Yes.
So that's why you're giving us
years.
education or
Yes.
something you've been doing?
Yes.
Because
So
sometimes we
something
see you pull up your host and
There's
then,
no water.
Yes.
No, you see, that's the unfortunate misconception. You see, we don't fight every fire with water. Let me cite a classic example. Let me draw your mind back to the unfortunate incident that happened at Circle near Vienna City. It was raining on that day. So then if we could fight every fire with water, we wouldn't have that situation that happened.
Because the rain should have doused the fire.
Exactly my point. So when we get to the scene of fire and we do our assessment, and it has to do with an electrical fire or fire that involves petroleum products, then we'll have to, if it's electrical, we'll have to call on the Ghana Electricity Company of Ghana to cut power supply to the area before we're able to apply water to the fire. So it's rather unfortunate misconception people have, But then today is a day that we are celebrating firefighters across the world. Today is International Firefighters Day, and today is also the day that we launch fire service at 60. Every institution has its challenges. Fire service is no exception, we know, but then over the years, we've sacrificed our lives to try and save lives and properties over the years. We've lost quite some good men and women over the years in the line of duty. Madam Hannah Yorsen, for instance, fell from a 5-story building at City House during a simulation exercise. A firewoman. She lost her life more than 10 years ago. We also had Joseph Edu back, yes. He was able to rescue 3 people from the pit, but then he lost his life in the course of doing that. We also had one recruit fireman. Most of the time, before you go for training, you go for attachment. And so during the attachment process, he was responding to a fire call. The car had an accident and he lost his life. So today is a day that we are appreciating firefighters across the world. And here in Ghana, we are having ours here. And we'll just encourage people that, if you feel we've not done anything for you at all, just for this day, appreciate the firefighter, because those who've witnessed our men at work, those who've been saved by our men, appreciate us. So maybe someone has not really been saved by our men yet, but that should not stop you from appreciating a firefighter. Go to any station, let them know that you appreciate them for their sacrifices.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, you've talked about some of the devices that you've had whilst in the line of duty. Yes. I'm sure you have success stories as well.
Yes.
But before that, let me ask a question. So we encountered a major fire about 3-4 years ago. Okay. And after the firemen came, they asked us to now go to the police station to fetch a police report as to what happened. I'm thinking, shouldn't the fire department rather be the ones to liaise with the police service to be able to fetch that report?
Okay, I don't know which report exactly you wanted, because we are responsible for handing over reports.
Okay.
When there's any fire incident, you apply to the chief fire officer or the station that responded to the fire.
Okay.
Then they'll make the reports available. What we don't do is that we don't openly put out fire reports out there, because then it's privacy. If you're affected by the fire and we've done the investigation, then you apply for the report. Then we hand it over to you.
Oh, okay.
But we don't, every institution has its modus operandi. The police probably puts out their reports because of the human interest in it. The markets, for instance, the municipal assemblies and the district assemblies are the custodians of the market. So we make the market fires available to the district assemblies and the municipal assemblies.
Okay. Now, as much as we're celebrating firemen, I know that you also have your difficulties as well. I remember that, the incessant fires at the Odona market and a few other markets across the country, you said that it was difficult penetrating the markets to find the source of, the fire. So sometimes you'd want to fight the fire from the top. One of the things that you asked for was a helicopter to sort of identify the source of fire, and also, trust is the very high is it called
No,
trusses?
it's called turntable ladder.
Exactly,
TTL.
for those things as well to be provided for the fire service. Have those things been provided yet? And if not, how are you managing the situation at the moment?
Okay, so earlier this year, the Vice President commissioned 2 hydraulic platforms, for the fire service. It's a step in the right direction, but we need more. Our equipments that you see are very old. Some are up to 15 years old. Unfortunately, the world standard international standards is that every 5 years, the fire tenders should be changed.
And this one,
Ideally.
15 years. And
15
what you
years.
have are over 15 years old.
Just between 12 and 15 years.
The ones you are
counting.
using.
The ones in the system now.
That's at risk to your personality.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly. So when we get to a scene, even with it's with time, because just this morning, this dawn there were about 3 fires. Medina, Teshi. During dawn we go for a lot of fires, and the station can go for as much as 4 or 5 fires in a day. So you can imagine the stress on the equipment. So within these 15 years, most of these equipments might have been exhausted. So when our men get there and some of the equipment or the pump is malfunctioning, they tend to put the blame on us. But
When you say your men, you don't mean the generic. You mean men.
the fire officers.
Okay.
Hey,
The
be
fire
careful,
officers. Sorry.
because
No, but
people are worried. Gender consultant and
No, but
is.
trust me,
I'm just saying men.
no, but I'll actually celebrate a female fire tender driver.
When?
Yeah, she drives a fire tender. We have a female.
But you keep saying men. It
So
means that you are
unfortunately-
not gender.
Okay, so I'm men and women.
So all of you.
But
All
do you?
of us.
But would you say you have enough fire tenders in the country at the moment? How many? Can you count? How many do you have?
Because most of them, some break down and all, I might not be able to give an updated figure.
Okay.
But I can tell you for a fact that most of them have broken down because of the, because I can, our station at STC, for instance, has been without tender for 2 years now.
STC.
Now you're talking.
You
So
know, and
which,
it covers.
where else?
and
Don't be
it
afraid.
covers-
Those are the parts.
No, no, I'm
those are
not,
the
you
things
know,
that we want to know.
Yes.
Let's go to the regions as well, because we are concentrating on Accra alone.
Yes.
But in the other regions, are there fire tenders?
Not every region has a fire tender, but not every district. Ideally, every district should have
must
a
have.
fire tender. So right now, what we as a service are trying to do is that we are trying to close the gap. We are in talks with the government for more procurement. So Amomole, for instance, and Awushi, Anya, it's a fast-growing area.
Okay.
So we have 2 fire stations there awaiting fire tenders. So we have men who man that area. So they do education, and whenever there's fire, they go in, start the process of firefighting before the tender comes from probably Amasaman. Now, let me be real. So the unfortunate thing is that, you see, the whole of La Paz, Odoko, Santa Maria, Kwashiman, Sotum, that environment, there's no single fire station there. So whenever there's any fire around that area, the appliance comes from Abilimpi. So 2 days
By
ago,
the time they get there, yeah.
exactly, and you realize our tenders are very big. They're
very
not
big.
typical vehicles that you can meander
Yeah.
through traffic. So you see, people, the police and fire go hand in hand. So when people call for police stations, they should call for fire stations. Also because you can't tackle a thief without tackling fire. So we'd ask people that there was fire 2 days ago at Jalav at Santa Maria. The appliance had to move all the way from Abilimpi to that place.
There's a whole lot that
There's
you
a whole
need.
lot,
There's a
so-
whole lot that you need.
yes, so we
Come
are
back
hoping
for a
that
conversation.
we'll be very
There
glad.
isn't too much time this morning,
glad.
so
Hey.
we are getting ready for
much.
Johnny's Right. Come back for a proper
let's
conversation,
go.
so
Yeah,
stakeholders
available.
can actually take a listen to the things that you need.
Please tell us the
as
area
a
so that
service.
when I know a fire is happening, I know that I won't call.
No,
you
it's
wouldn't
not,
even bother to
you
call,
can
right?
call, but then
No.
you see, so in the absence of the station at the appliance at STC yard, circle response to fires within that area.
In the traffic.
Yes, but the unfortunate part is that if there's a fire at Kokomlemli and Circle has responded, then it means that they won't be available. But please do pass by any of our stations. Appreciate firefighters for using their limited resources to save you.
Happy
Thank you very
60th
much.
to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. ADO2, Alex King and Nate, Assistant Divisional Officer, Ghana National Fire Service, PR Department. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
pleasure.
I'm sure you have media rounds today, pa.
The whole week has been very tight.
All the best.
And I appreciate TV3.
All the best. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, we have Johnny's Bite next.